everybody, and welcome back to the Girly Girl Bookworm. So today I have my July wrap-up for you. July didn't go as well as I wanted to. But the one good thing is I got a lot of review books done. So as much as I didn't mood read as much as I wanted to, I got a lot of work done by getting the books done that I needed to review for you guys. But my month just wasn't the month I thought it was going to be. Again, I started off like I'm going to mood read and I'm going to do great. And then I ended up super slumpy. We went to the Cape for 10 days, so I kind of blame some of my moodiness for being there. We went there with my in-laws because we've kind of not cohorted ourselves, but we know that we don't go anywhere and they know that they don't go anywhere. So we went to an Airbnb, private beach, the whole enchilada. So when we were there, it was a lot of family time, a lot of beach time, a lot of still watching Sydney time. So and they're not big readers. So for me to sit down with a book is very, not weird, but it feels weird. So I don't read as much when I'm around them. And then I was just slumpy and unfocused. School plans have started coming out. So my stress levels are up here. So getting the time to focus and sit down and read has been super difficult. So this July is probably the worst July reading month I've had in a very long time. I got to 9 books. I DNF'd 1 and I'm currently in the middle of 2. And my ratings are kind of all over the place. So let's just dive right in. The first book of the month was 28 Summers by Ellen Hildebrand. You know me. It's not summer without an Ellen Hildebrand book. I even have an entire video explaining my ranking order for all of her books of where I 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, where I rate them. So you kind of have an idea of what I like about Ellen Hildebrand. This is her newest book. This one came out in June. And we are following 2 characters who kind of have a meeting in the very beginning, but there's no way that they foresee that they can actually be together. So then they agree that every Labor Day they are going to meet on Nantucket and kind of reconnect every Labor Day. So we are following them through 28 summers of this and seeing their lives and seeing what's going on in the world through their eyes. Really interesting. I didn't love it as much as I've loved other books by her. I still gave it 4 stars. I still bawled my bloody eyes out by the end. And it still gave me all the Nantucket vibes that I love. There was a little disconnect for me, but still a very good read, 4 stars. Then I decided to pick up The Lion's Den, and I read this through NetGalley, and I gave this one 3.5 stars. This is about a girl who is friends with this girl who is dating this multi-millionaire type of man, and for her birthday, she invites all of her friends to go on this Mediterranean, Italy, France. That's probably not Mediterranean because Mediterranean's, I don't know. I'm mixing up my maps. Going on this cruise. And so she is going on this cruise, and as she's there, things are starting to not line up. Things don't seem to be as fun as they're supposed to be. And we're alternating perspectives of her now and her kind of in the past leading up to the cruise. I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was still really fun. I know a lot of people have said it's so gripping and so engaging, and I didn't have that. And I don't know if it was my mindset or I hyped it up way too much, so then when it didn't grab me right away, it disappointed me. So it was still a really fun read. The twist had me shocked. The end though, after the twist, it kind of tied up a little too nice, to the point where it just didn't seem plausible or feasible. But still, 3.5 stars, still a lot of fun. Then I picked up my favorite book for the month, and that is Crave by Tracy Wolff. This book is it was the guilty pleasure. It was the mood that I just wanted, and I gave into it, and I devoured it. And I gave this book 4.5 stars. This is about a girl whose parents have passed away, and she is now going to live with her uncle and cousin up in Alaska. And her uncle runs a boarding school, so she's now going to go live at this boarding school and be a student at this boarding school. And it's paranormal. I found it very gripping and very fun to read and very fast-paced for a really long book. I devoured this so quickly, and the minute I finished it, I automatically pre-ordered the second book, which comes out in September. This was just so much fun. It's a book that you just like don't need to take 100% seriously and just let yourself enjoy it, and it's really fun. I know people have compared it to Twilight, but to me, it didn't read like Twilight. Like, I can see the Twilight vibes, I can see the Vampire Academy vibes, but it also has more than just vampires in it. So to me, it wasn't a ripoff of Twilight, even though some people say it was. I don't think so. Again, like I said, it was probably my favorite read that I read in the month of July. Then I read He Started It by Samantha Downs, another book that I read through NetGalley. And this is Samantha Downing's second book. We all had her lovely wife come into our lives last year, so I was really excited to see how this one compares. And I actually rated this one 4 stars, which was a little bit higher than I rated My Lovely Wife. This one just had a very gripping, page-turning element to it. We're following these 3 siblings on this road trip to kind of deliver their grandfather's ashes. Basically, they're told you need to take this trip that you took with your grandfather when you were younger to deliver the ashes, and if something goes wrong or you all don't end up there, like, you don't get my money, so, and their inheritance. So they're begrudgingly on this trip. Dysfunctional family, they're the definition of it completely. And everybody has secrets. It's crazy. It's a crazy ride. It is literally the most emotionally, like, crazy road trip ever. And the ending is, I will say, open-ended. I know that's kind of a spoiler, but I'm gonna put it out there because I know people don't love open-ended endings, and I think, like, I knew it was gonna be like that going into it, so I think that's why I was, like, kind of okay with it, but it definitely, like, left my jaw on the ground wanting more information. So if you were the type of person who doesn't like open-ended endings, I probably would stay away from it, but very good read. And creepy. And disturbing. Then I read The Safe Place by Anna Downs, and this one was sent to me by Minotaur. And this is another kind of like domestic thriller. This one takes place in France. Apparently I was very worldly with my thrillers. So this one, like I said, takes place in France. We are following our main character. I think she was originally from England, and she's kind of down on her luck. She wants to be an actress, but she isn't getting really a lot of acting jobs. So she's working as a temp in a company, and they kind of let her go, so she's all miserable. But then her boss offers her the opportunity to go to his home in France to kind of be kind of assistant to his wife, so that way she's either like taking care of things around the house or watching their daughter or something. But when she gets there, like, in the beginning, it's like, this is the life. Like, this is so awesome. I'm in this remote, beautiful home. But she starts to realize it's maybe not as perfect as she thought it was going to be. And again, it was a fun read. I just wasn't as tied to it as I wanted to. It was slow. The ending kind of was, like, shocking, but not really. And then another one that kind of, like, ties up again too nicely. So I did give it 3 stars. It was still really fun. It was still really atmospheric, and I do recommend it. It just wasn't the, like, powerful read that I wanted it to be. Then I read How to Save a Life by Liz Fenton and Lisa Steink, and this is a book that was sent to me by, like, Union Press, and I really enjoyed their previous novels. I've read The Good Widow and The Two Lives of Lila Bennett, and not Lila Bennett. Yeah. Yes? It's too close to the Lydia Bird that I get nervous that, like, I'm, like, not putting it in right. Yeah, Lila Bennett's. I was right the first time. So this one is another really unique story. It's more, the other two were kind of more thrillery, but this one is not as much thrillery. This one is kind of a Groundhog's Day story where we're following our main character, Dom, and he is reliving his life day after day after day, the same day over and over again, because 10 years prior, he proposed to his girlfriend and then kind of broke up with her real fast because he wasn't ready. And it's now 10 years later, and they decide that they like kind of bump into each other again, and they decide that they're going to possibly try it again, and they go on a date, and his girlfriend dies at the end of the date. So he kind of makes it his goal that he wants to save her life. Like, I will do anything. I just wish I could have saved her life. And sure enough, the next day, he tries again, and it's a lot of fun. Really, really enjoyed this one. Gave it 4 stars. If you haven't tried one of their books, I highly recommend you do, because they are just so easy to consume and enjoyable, and I really like them. They're a lot of fun. Then after that, I guess you can say this is kind of mood reading, because I was kind of like, it wasn't technically on my TBR, but I feel like I was kind of not guilted into reading it. But y'all want me to read it, so I decided to try it, and that is The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. I didn't like it. I gave this one 2 stars. So you're following Olive, whose twin sister Mia is getting married, and Mia is kind of this character who wins everything. Basically, her wedding is free, her honeymoon's free, everything is free, and Olive she doesn't like her brother-in-law to be's brother, because she thinks that he doesn't like her for whatever reason. And at the wedding, everybody gets sick, except for, you guessed it, Olive and the brother. I always forget his name. Ethan. And Ethan and Olive end up having to go on this honeymoon together, because the bride and the groom can't go, so they, in turn, have to go. And Olive has to pretend to be her twin sister Mia, so they kind of have to pretend to be on this honeymoon together. And the beginning, right off the bat, I knew instantly I hated Olive. Her attitude was irritating. I just did not like it. And people, when I was talking to people, they were like, "Are you going to keep going?" I went, "Yes, I'm going to give it to at least 100 pages. They finally get to Hawaii and on the honeymoon, and I start kind of liking them. Like, I could tolerate them. This is okay. And this is going to go in a good direction. And then it kind of felt like the movie Just Go With It, with Adam Sandler in it, and I was like, okay, so now we're getting to be not so unique, and this is okay, but whatever, it'll be fine. Maybe this will turn into a 4-star read, because in the beginning I thought 3 stars, and I was like, maybe we'll get there to 4, and then it started kind of getting to be a little too long and dragging, so then I was kind of like, okay, we're back to 3. That's okay, that's fine. I'd much prefer it be a 3-star read, and then the ending happened, and it automatically tanked it to 2 stars. I felt like our main character, Olive and Ethan, could have had a way better problem than the problem they had, especially coming from that they were just fake dating. They could have very easily had many other problems than the problem that they had. I'm not going to say the problem or anything remotely like the problem, because that gives the whole thing away. But it was disgusting, distasteful, just didn't feel like it had a point. It didn't feel necessary. They could have had way other problems. Like, obviously they're going to have problems, but like, I felt like it needed to be something else and not that. So unfortunately, 2 stars. I will try them again, just not for a while. Then I picked up Hamilton the Revolution. This is a nonfiction by Lin-Manuel Miranda and Jeremy McCarter. And this is just following Hamilton from the idea getting sparked all the way to the first night on Broadway. Again, I've talked about this, I feel like, at length in my haul and my wrap-up, but you've got lots of awesome pictures. You've got, obviously, information. You've got lyrics that then have like footnotes on the side, finding out how he even came up with the idea for Hamilton, how some of the actors came in, their thoughts about how they chose the costuming and the stage, and how they chose to choreograph it. And there's a lot of information in it. I really liked it. Obviously, being nonfiction, I don't tend to rate my nonfiction, so this one has no rating. But no, it was a lot of fun. Then the last one that I've read in July is Evie Drake Starts Over by Linda Holmes. This book is about Evie, and she is living in Maine, living her best life, and then her husband dies, and she is now trying to kind of move on from that. It's now been a year, and her best friend Andy is like, hey, my friend Dean needs to escape from New York for a little bit. You have an apartment to rent. Can he rent it? She's like, okay, fine, sure. And so Dean comes, and he's escaping the Yankees because he has something called the yips, which means he just suddenly can't play baseball for no real reason. So he's trying to escape and figure out what he wants to do in his life. He's at this point retired. He doesn't know what to do. And it's kind of their love story, but also them figuring out themselves. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. I really like the atmosphere. It takes place obviously in Maine, which is New England, which is where I'm from. Well, I'm not from Maine. New England is where I'm from. So I love books that take place in New England because I could really relate to them. But I did have a lot of problems with this. They had communication problems, which is always a bad sign. They come up with 2 rules right off the bat. Let's not talk about baseball and let's not talk about my husband. So there's a lot of communication problems that could have easily been solved if they just talked. So yeah, I don't really want to specifically get into my problems with this one. I think I talked about it in my wrap up. This was the book for Book Talks After Dark with Shelby and Kendra, so I kind of vented all of my frustrations about it in that chat. And their host was Chloe this month. So yeah, I got my feelings out on that one, so I don't want to bore you with all my thoughts on this one. But just know it was okay. I know a lot of people have loved this book, so please take my dislike with this with a grain of salt, because a lot of people loved this one. It just didn't work out for me as a romance because it didn't go in depth as much as it could have and had better problems. My 1 DNF this month was Unfortunately Feels Like Falling by Christy Woodson Harvey. I was reading this one because I pre-ordered it. So again, with my pre-order rules, I was trying to get this one in, and I just wasn't liking it at all. I got about 133 pages in, and it just wasn't doing it for me. We're following 2 characters. We're following Gray, and Gray's husband has recently left her. And then she unfortunately gets our other character, Diana, fired. And so somehow Diana ends up working for her. They have this arrangement because she feels bad for getting the girl fired. And I don't know, I don't know if it's because the characters are older than me, because Gray was 34 and Diana was 40. But I'm not that far away from that. I'm going to be 30 in a few months. I don't know, it wasn't clicking. I found it to be slow. I really didn't care about them. There's things that happen on the back that still haven't happened yet, and I didn't care for their problems, and I didn't want to find out what was going to happen with them, so unfortunately I DNF'd it. I'm not going to get rid of it just yet, because maybe I'll try it again, but it just wasn't working this month for me. And then the 2 books that I'm currently reading, I'm reading Ritual, which is the 5th book in the Palm South University series by Candy Steiner. I'm loving this one so far. Palm South University is the series that really got me into Candy Steiner. It was my first book by Candy Steiner, and I've loved them ever since. Legacy, which was book 4, came out 2 years ago, so I've been dying for this one to come out. So when it got here, I immediately picked it up, but like I said, I've been slumpy, so I haven't gotten to get as far as I wanted to in this. I'm about 80 pages in, but really loving it so far. Cannot wait to finish this in August. And then My Dear Hamilton by Stephanie Dre and Laura Camoy. This is a story about Eliza Hamilton, which is Alexander Hamilton's wife. It's over 600 pages. I'm only 50 or 60 pages in. So far, I'm really enjoying it, but I just need to get refocused in order to finish it. But hopefully in August, I will be able to finish that one. So yes, that is my July wrap-up. Let me know what you read in July. Have you read any of these? Your thoughts? What was your favorite book that you read in July? Your least favorite book you read in July? Let me know down below, and I'll see you guys really soon. Bye, everybody.